If you'll please rise. Mayor Pro Tem Schrader will lead us this evening.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nita, would you call roll first, please? Councilor Lorenz?
Here.
Councilor Schleba? Councilor Martinez?
Here.
Councilor Schrader?
Here.
Mayor Garcia? Here. The quorum is declared. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any other discussion? Nita? Councilor Lorenz?
Aye.
Councilor Schrader?
Aye.
Councilor Martinez?
Aye.
Mayor Garcia? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next item on our agenda this evening is the swearing in of Eduardo Rodriguez as our acting chief of police.
That looks dangerous. Alright. I guess we usually do it over there.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Ready for this?
I suppose.
Alrighty. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Eduardo Rodriguez,
Eduardo Rodriguez,
do solemnly swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury
do solemnly swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury
that I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States of America
and the laws of the United States of America
and the state of Colorado
and of the state of Colorado,
and the charter and ordinances
the charter of ordinances
of the city of Monte Vista
of the city of Monte Vista
and the county of Rio Grande,
and the county of Rio Grande.
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
I will faithfully perform the duties
of acting chief of police
of acting chief of police
for the city of Monte Vista
for the city of Monte Vista
in the county of Rio Grande,
and the county of Rio Grande,
to which I have been appointed and upon which I am about to enter. And upon which I am about to enter.
that I am about to enter.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Get back to, you got somebody that's been this bad going on?
Actually, she is not here.
Well, you know,
I think I'll have
you
Sergeant
did
do
it.
it.
Yeah, I think, there we go.
Sergeant take care of that.
You won't hurt me too bad.
No.
Don't hurt me too bad, okay?
So we'd like to get one with you, and then if all the officers that came here this evening in support would also like to join us, that'd be great. I have to do my part, I'm sure. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Congratulations. You can reenact it. Do you want us to do that? Okay. Take it off. Take it off and I'll put it back on. And then the officers can participate. do you guys want to come up and we'll get a picture with? We'll let you guys do one together and then we'll join you.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll get one with all the officers and mix things up a little.
Can't see you. You're always like dead and blind. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item on our agenda is another award. We have the Silver Safety Award that we'd like to present this evening to the Public Works Utility staff. And just to give you guys, I'm going to read a letter that was sent with the award, just to kind of let you know what this award is about. It says, "Congratulations on your outstanding commitment to safety as shown in the demonstrated efforts in protecting the safety and health of employees and the facility's performance achievement in 2016. The nature of the work within the water and wastewater industries involves many potential risks to our employees. Comprehensive accident prevention requires risk assessment, documented policies and procedures, thorough accident reviews, training, continuous improvement, and above all, an explicit commitment to safety at all levels of your organization. The AWWA/RMWEA Joint Committee on Emergency Preparedness and Security is privileged to present this recognition to your organization. The committee would also like to thank you again for submitting the annual safety survey, and in addition to your certificate, the document titled 2016 Safety Insight Details Information on the efforts and practices within your local wastewater industry." So this is an outstanding achievement for the public works and utility crew that, you know, we take it for granted that we have running water, and we especially take it for granted that we have safe, clean running water. So we can thank those gentlemen back there for providing that service for us and doing it exceptionally well to receive this award. So, congratulations. And if you'd like to come up, we'd like to get a picture with you as well.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait, I think some of the eyes closed. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Rob, is there anything else you'd like to say, or?
Just, Bob and his crew work extremely hard and diligently, and Bob does an excellent job at not only our wastewater plants, but also our water plants, just keeping everything within compliance. Their crew really do an excellent job for us. Very proud of them.
Congratulations on this, good job. Then last week we had on our agenda the proclamation for National Healthcare Center Week, and unfortunately we didn't have a representative here. So this evening we would actually like to present the signed proclamation for National Healthcare Center Week 2017. And it's a week, this year's National Healthcare Center Week is August 13th through the 19th. And it's a week that we recognize America's health centers and their dedicated staff, board members, and all those responsible for their continued success and growth in the healthcare industry for more than 50 years. During National Healthcare Center Week, we celebrate our legacy and the vital role that they play in our community to, again, keep us all safe and have those services provided. So thank you, and please thank everyone for us in your facility. So tonight's the night for pictures.
Can you just stand over there, please?
Sure. Okay, so.
Oh, shit, didn't it? 1, 2. One more. 1, 2. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. No, I have the other ones. Yeah, we might as well just stay. Okay, so our last certificates of awards this evening, we have a lot of people here that are celebrating their 1-year anniversary with the city. So we'd like to recognize them and have them come forward, and we'll take a big 1-year photo op. So we have Azria.
Do I go up? Or do we
Yes, come up here.
Okay.
I'll hand them to Matt. And we have Chris Roybal. Kara Bentley.
Oh, shake your hand.
Courtney Baker. Christy Fletcher. And then we have two. Nika.
Do you want to do it with this group or right after?
It's up to you.
We can do it with this.
Are they 1 year?
No. Oh, they're just summer stuff.
Oh, okay. Then we'll do them afterwards. All right. Thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I was like, I'll move. I was really confused.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna have to get closer.
I'll be on front.
Does that work?
I'll come over here. Good pose.
I don't mind it.
Okay.
Coco. Coco. Yeah, Coco.
1, 2. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Okay, Anika.
We would like to take a picture with my summer stuff. Don't run away yet.
Yep.
So I have two awards to give out. They're certificates of appreciation. I had two high school students join Kids Connection from Monte Vista High School this year. And these two, in the 4 years we've been with the program that the high schools provided us, these two high schoolers have been outstanding this year. They both walked into the program, knew exactly what to do, took control of it like they'd been there with us the entire time. So I really wanted to recognize them and thank them for their hard work. We really have missed you the last week and a half, and hope that you guys maybe consider coming back as a actual staff member next summer. Just think about it, because that option is always available at the end of the school year. So just let me know. And these awards go to Nicholas DuPont and Caitlin Porter.
wasn't just toting on you just because you're here, because she has toted on you in council meetings, so.
One, two.
Well, hopefully you guys will come back and. Oh, now we lost our track. We should do this at the end. The next item on our agenda is citizens' comments and special presentations.
Madam Mayor, it doesn't look like he's here tonight, but I could run through it with the council if you'd like.
All right.
For Potato Fest? Is that what you're
For the
talking
discount?
about? Yeah, I
Oh,
got
okay.
everything.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
So we do have a rep.
I did not know that.
Well, I'm just there for them, but not with them. Okay, so I don't know if Jim gave you a copy of the letter?
Yeah, we have a letter in our.
Okay, so what CPAC is asking for is a discount, because this year they are expanding Potato Fest, and they're actually doing a concert at the fairgrounds. So they have asked for a discount, and Recreation has recommended 40% because they are not using the indoor facility, just the outdoor. So there's not that prep, and also because we work with them all year, and they bring a lot into our department as well.
I would agree. I think the Potato Festival has grown immensely over the years, and it's a big economic plug and a good agro-tourism boost for our communities. Which is the council.
Make a motion to approve the discount for CPAC for Potato Festival.
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay, Anita?
Counselor Martinez?
Aye.
Counselor Schleba?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Counselor Schreiber?
Aye.
Mayor Garcia?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I'll get it right here. I'll just initial it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. So now is the time for any unscheduled appearances. If anyone would like to address council, please remember we can't make any formal decisions, but we welcome your comments. Is there anyone this evening?
Yeah, you're probably tired of hearing me, but I'm going to talk in a small voice because I don't want to be accused of yelling at the council and verbally assaulting you, Mayor. I had two things. I'm going to only take one because I'm not going to kick a dead horse in the ground. A while back, we had talked about how Del Nord had revamped the town, and that there had been a committee picked by the council in Del Nord to bring up things with the community and how to do it. And at one time, was the council going to try to get a group to check with them and see what they had done, if that would work in our community, to where our empty buildings could start getting full and being used, and that when people come down through 160, there's not going to be a lot of for sale signs, for rent, for everything, and that we can get different groups in there. And not only is at Monte Vista or Del Norte, the stores are full, they're not empty, but yet the people are doing a good business there. So have the council ever thought of getting people to go with them so we can revitalize our town? So people will say, hey, this is a live town. And that'd be a whole lot better to see people than people coming through and on traffic stops and getting warnings and say, oh, these people are welcoming. Let's get some business in here. This is what's going to make our town look good. How can we do it? And I don't know if the council had addressed that, and if you have, I'm sorry I haven't seen it or heard it, and I might have overlapped, but this is a concern of mine, that there are so many buildings, not only on Adams Street, but on Main Street, that are empty. And they're either for sale, for lease, or for rent. How can we fill them? And how can we help the people that are trying to put a business in there so we can shop local and we don't have to go other places? Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. So Wayne, we do have an economic incentive plan that we offer to people. The city offers any business owner that's wanting to open up a new business. They do. If you go on the website, on the Monte Vista City's website, you can find the economic incentive package and everything that the city's willing to either discount or waive for a certain period of time to assist that business owner in opening their business here. Just from a personal perspective, when buildings are owned by other individuals and they're not city owned, it's kind of hard to force a building owner to make renovations or accommodations to accommodate businesses. And you know, it's going to take the village, in my opinion. It's going to take a lot of those building owners downtown to also be willing to work with individuals on either selling them at a reasonable price, that because there's a lot of money that's going to go into renovating those, or fixing them up to meet the needs of the person that's wanting to rent it. And I don't know if anybody else has anything to say.
Pastor Whitner, so part of what we've been doing over the last 2 years to address that, when I first got on council, it was ever apparent that was an issue, and we were trying to figure out how to, just like you said, how are other towns making this work, how are other towns doing this, and maybe we could mirror that. And what the mayor and myself and the mayor pro tem, when we were at the CML conference, we ran into a guy named Frank Gray, who's the head economic developer in Castle Rock. And we asked him after one of his sessions, because that's what it was about, on how to revamp your downtown, how to get new businesses in. And we said, you know, well, we like what you said, but we don't have obviously a lot of money to contribute into economic development at this point, you know, what are your suggestions? And what he suggested us, he said, well, you guys are in a different situation. And it took him about 2 years to come down, and that's when we started this, the economic summits that we've been having. We've been including local business owners. We've had outreach, some of our staff members outreach into the current businesses that we have to find out what problems that they have, what needs do they need to have met, that way we can help address some of those and keep them here. And then also we talked with Frank Gray as to how do we attract new businesses. And pretty much what he told us is that individually, it's difficult to attract businesses into smaller rural towns, he said. But if we start combining our resources, working together instead of separate, that we can all be successful. And so actually today we had an economic summit, the third one that now in process over at Adams State. And we had another partner of his in the Denver Economic Development Group come down and explain how it works, how they use this whole code of ethics that we've been going around the valley now in order to work together, and that it really is successful. And you know, so that's kind of the plan. And so the first step of that process is getting everyone in the valley on this code of ethics, and then Frank Gray is more willing to come down, hopefully, and to come back and teach us then, saying, okay, here's the type of businesses that are going to want to operate in your area. Here's how you're going to be able to go pitch them, and here's how to bring them into your town. Here's how to get them. The frustrating part for me is with our economic incentive plan, which is great, and we've had one business that's utilized that, and they're doing amazing. And I would like for more business owners to come up when they're starting to open up in the town to utilize that plan, because we're willing to help. We want them up here, and we want them to be successful, but they have to be willing to come before council, and all it is the business plan that they have to pitch to us, which is what they have to normally pitch to the banks. And so I would like to see more. And I think, you know, you take a Quincy's, for example, where they came in and they had enough money to completely renovate the building, completely redo everything, and open up. It's pretty rare. And being able to do that, you know, I mean, I'm glad that they did, and they're very successful, and they're doing well, and they've added another business in the downtown area. But there's not a lot of businesses that are willing to invest that kind of capital in some of the older buildings. So between URA and between our economic incentive plan, and hopefully with what knowledge that some other businesses or economic development people have done, hopefully we can have a plan developed to be able to start rectifying some of these situations. The unfortunate part is that it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen tomorrow. I think it took us a while to get to this situation, so it's going to take us a little bit to get back out. But I think we're making the right decisions, and we're talking to the right people to make sure that we're doing it right, and that we're not only trying to get new businesses, but supporting our current business owners.
And I've heard you talk about people from Castle Rock and, you know, Denver, and that's great. That's a big metropolis. That's a big city. But a lot of things that happen in the big city and big metropolis do not work in a small rural community. And we have a lot of expertise here in the Monte area, Del Norte area, and everything that we can draw on and get some. Are we ignoring that and going to the big people? And this is what I was wanting. Are we really looking around our community to see those that have expertise? We have a lot of people still in this town that have done wonderful on their businesses, but they're tired of it and they wanted to retire. But have we tapped into their expertise, and are we just ignoring that and going to big cities, and yes, Castle Rock has grown tremendous. Compared to what it first was and now it is. Now, that's fine, but we're in a rural, small community. Are we tapping into the expertise that we have here? And as far as a business person, I don't know a darn thing about it. But the only thing, I know that there's a lot of people that have that expertise, and are we ignoring them and going with the big people? Thank you.
Well, I can address a little bit of that, Wayne. So, through these past several economic summits and this code of ethics that Councilor Martinez is referring to about collaborating and working together, we are, and the speaker today, we're even collaborating and working with the larger cities. And Denver just recently promoted the entire San Luis Valley at a trade show in Dallas for our unmanned aircraft systems. So we've got some of the big boys up in Denver promoting the San Luis Valley through this agreement and this code of ethics that we're going to all work together, not just regionally here in the valley, but statewide. And he showed us slides of their booth where they were promoting the valley at that trade show, not Denver, not Castle Rock, but the valley. And we do need more of those primary jobs. We do need industries moving into the valley, because my husband is always harping at me and my children about needs and wants, needs and wants, needs and wants. And it's kind of true in the sense that there's certain things we have to have. You know, we have to have a roof over our head, we have to have food, we have to have running water. Do we need to go out to dinner? Probably not. Do we need to go buy a new outfit? Probably not. Are they nice? Absolutely. But if we don't have those primary jobs, those manufacturing jobs, those jobs that are employing people to give them that extra income to do some of those extra things like eating out and buying clothes, somebody could open up a business tomorrow, but if we don't have the economy and the base to keep that business supported, it's going to open, it's going to close, another one's going to move in, it's going to close. So, you know, we are making successes there. We are working on this unmanned aircraft systems. We just got Proximity Malt, which is renovated the old Staley's plant that will be malting barley, and they've employed between 25 and 30 people. And there's one of the things we talked about today at our economic summit is there is a big valley-wide initiative to research the industrial hemp industry and how we can not only grow it but manufacture it here. Power Zone up in Center has developed the technology to actually harvest the hemp plants and strip them. So there's a lot of people working on just what you're talking about what else can we bring into this valley to put people to work, where then when they come home they'll go out to dinner and go to the movies and support some of those wants that we can fill up the downtown with. But it's got to start at a base, at a foundation, and we've got to get people back to work. And we're trying. And like Matt said, it's not going to happen overnight. It's been years and years and years. Proximity Malt was 2 years from the time they came here, found a site, did their remodeling. But, you know, there are a lot of committed people, not just here in Monte Vista, but valley-wide, to seeing this become a successful place.
Yeah, and that's fine. I've heard a lot of about the upper San Luis Valley development and stuff that's going to help everything. But that still does not, unless I can't get it between my ears and get it, that is not how Del Norte filled their buildings, and things are going good for those that are in those buildings, and where people drive by and through Del Norte, they see these buildings and they say, oh, well, let's stop. You go down 160. You can find a place to eat. You can find a place to invest. You can find a hotel to stay in. You can find a gas station. You can find a real estate office, which we have quite a few. We have lawyers' offices. What do we have to interest people going through? What did Del Norte do that we're not doing? This is what because Del Norte used to be like Monte Vista is right now. But now they are a more vibrant community than Monte Vista. Now, I grant you, I love Monte Vista, but I want to see it revitalized. And what are we doing to do? We got the hemp and the revamp of the starch plant where they're heating malt and stuff. That's great. That's bringing jobs. But the only thing, what are we doing to entice people to stop here in our community? This is my biggest concern.
Pastor Whitner, I had a rather interesting conversation with a gentleman today. His name is Kevin Wilkerson. He's the director of the COG here in the San Luis Valley. He's been doing economic development for roughly 30, actually a little over 40 years now. That he's been doing economic development in rural America. This has not been big city or anything like that. And he said the one thing that we have to remember as rural America is we can't do everything. And so we have to make sure that we focus on the right thing. And so I recognize what Monte Vista is, and I recognize that we do have buildings that are run down. We do have areas that are not as nice. Also have areas that are very beautiful in this town. I love walking the streets. Sometimes I'll just go out in the evening, just go for a walk and just take a look at some of the beautiful areas in the neighborhoods that we have. And one of the things that came up in the conversation was placemaking. And he said one of the things that Monte Vista does really well is we do a good job of placemaking. And what he was talking about is the different events that we do throughout the year to make the community feel like they're engaged. From Sky High Stampede that just happened, where our entire city employees, every last one of them, worked together, the police officers, public works, everybody worked together to make it one of the most successful events we've had. And now we're talking about Potato Fest, we're talking about the dirt drags, we're talking about all these different things that we do to build a community and a sense of community. And so I recognize that we don't have certain areas that are as beautiful as we would like to have them. And that's a work in progress. I was a part of the Urban Renewal Authority that the mayor started back before I was on council. And we continue pursuing their progress through the Urban Renewal Authority. And we're going to continue doing that. But this is not something that's going to happen next year. This is not something that's going to happen in 2 years. This is something that's going to happen over a course of 10 years. This is something that's going to continue to progress. You mentioned Del Norte and some of the things that Del Norte has done. And I will recognize that Del Norte has done a good job of making the 160 corridor look good. And they had a couple influential businesses that moved in there and kind of influenced that progress. You leave the 160 corridor, however, and you see the same thing that Monte Vista has. And so that's the thing that I think every single community throughout the San Luis Valley struggles with is we don't have all the answers. But each community has a small piece. And that's what we're working towards. That's what Councilman Martinez was talking about. That's what the mayor was talking about, is each community has a small piece. And we're going to work together to build those pieces. Our piece, I believe, is value-added ag. I think we are sitting in the center of the biggest ag county in the valley. Rio Grande County produces a tremendous amount of ag. And if we can add value to that ag, it will, the proximity malt plant opening up was the equivalent to Monte Vista, the equivalent of 35,000 jobs happening in Denver. That's how big of a boost that will be for our community. And so is it the be-all, end-all? Absolutely not. But it is a step in the right direction, and we've seen businesses open up throughout the past 2 years. We've seen a growth in industry throughout the past 2 years, and we're going to continue seeing that growth over the next 10 years.
And Councilman, I appreciate what you say, and I am on the committee of the URA, and it was an eye-opener because I see there's so much different things that has to be before a property can be taken care of and worked on, because you have to go through the state and a lot of other stuff, and that takes a long time. I understand that, and I appreciate the work you've done, but these businesses, how can we get some mom and pop businesses that Del Norte has that are prospering, to get them in here like we used to have when I first came here? Those are the things that I'm talking about, that grabs people's eyes and see, oh, this is a flourishing little town. Let's stop, see what they have. This is my main concern. And I appreciate all the committees that you guys are on and stuff, but, and I know a lot of things take time. Any pastor knows that things are not done overnight, but I would like to see some of these buildings having something in there instead of having more of them empty. This is my only concern, and I appreciate all your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else this evening? Okay, we'll move on to contracts, agreements, and leases. We have in our packet a letter from Mr. Vance on the equipment that needs repaired. I don't know if you want to talk more about it, but.
I would actually like to,
In your packets, I have a memo that kind of outlines two equipment needs that we have. I did get a chance to go out this morning on my way to CDOT and take a look at the truck that's available. I think it'll meet our needs. It is definitely not new by any means. What I really wanted was the flatbed. What I was pleased about when I got out there, it's actually already set up as a dump body. So we're gonna go back out tomorrow and make measurements just to make sure that it will convert over to our existing truck. So, price is right. So I would like permission to move forward with that one. The idea behind that would be to use that body, the flatbed part of it. It is far more structurally sound than the pictures that you have in your packets of the one we have, and do some modification to make one on our 1980 truck that would actually work just as well. And then the idea would be to sell that truck, the motor's blown and a few other things, give that truck back to Colorado Recycling and start recoup some of our costs. It won't be all, but some. And then the old flatbed, of course. So that's item number one. Item number two is the big one that I've talked to you guys about, I don't know, three council meetings now. And that's the repair of our 2011 Mega Wind sweeper. The repair on that is substantial, in my opinion, roughly $36,000. So I would like to kind of go over that with you and get some of your opinions of what you want. In my memo, I listed 3 options. Option 1 being a do nothing option. Option 2 would be to do a trade-in, which I just simply don't feel that the city's in a position to even consider that option. Option 3 is the one that Forrest and I kind of worked on, is to go ahead and get it fixed and start looking at the market and see if we could sell it at a future time and try to get a little more money than what our trade-in allowance is. But at least we would have a working sweeper. You probably all noticed that right before Stampede, we did get the GeoVac, the old 2000 sweeper, up and running. I did talk to my predecessor a little bit about it. The reason they parked that machine and went out and purchased the newer Mega Wind was, first, it was 11 years old, and secondly, the engine that drives the main air assembly, the head on that is starting to get pretty weak, and then of course it has the exact same problem that our Mega Wind has. The fan assembly in it is also cracked. So I would not recommend doing anything with the GeoVac. First, it's too old. I honestly think if we tried to operate that on a daily basis, it would turn into a money pit. I really think we'd just sink a ton of money into it and really have nothing. In my memo, I did tell you outright selling price of that model is $5,000. So there's not a lot of resale. Likewise on our Mega Wind, I fully anticipated it to have a higher resale than what it does. On the open market, we're looking $60,000 to $75,000 in good condition. So that's the repairs. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. I definitely would like to have some discussion as far as your opinions. And my recommendation, I think Forrest would second that, is to go with option 3. Go ahead and fix it, get it back up. The do nothing would require a change in council policy as far as our sweeping operations. We sweep on a daily basis up until October, and then as weather allows during the winter months, and start back up again in May. So, and I kind of outlined some ideas in that in my memo as well. So I'd open it up for council discussion.
What kind of warranty is there, if any, on the repairs?
1 year.
1 year.
Parts and material. And keep this in mind, I don't know if I really touched on it very well, but talking with the folks over there at Ferris Machinery, which is the dealer that we bought the machine from, those machines do really well on light sandy material. like what you would find in an airport or something like that. But picking up tree limbs or twigs, if you will, and rocks and just the general stuff that winds up in a regular street gutter, it's hard on it. So keep in the back of your mind that as far as me life cycling that, this repair is going to be good for 5 to 6 years. The machine is 6 years old. We've had a major malfunction. I would fully anticipate having that same failure again in 6 years, just from the nature of what we do. So I want to be perfectly honest that I don't think we invest this kind of money in that machine, we're gonna have a machine that's gonna last us 20 years. So.
You mentioned that as-is trade-in value is roughly 50,000.
Roughly, yeah.
And
48,000.
the going rate for the Badger is 125.
For a used Badger, that's a 1-year-old broom Badger that's been in their demo fleet. They've got 3 in their fleet right now, all 3 are checked out. If it's something that the council wants to pursue, we go on a waiting list. Of the 3 entities that have it, if they choose not to buy that particular model, then it becomes open for sale at the end of the year, which is November.
Gotcha. And the 125 is before the trade-in value?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so you'd still be financing roughly 75,000, right. And a new broom Badger is roughly depending on how it's equipped, anywhere from 165 up to about 180. And I think the quotes, I attached the quote for you for a new one, and that's that 48,000 trade-in, 197, excuse me. So it's still a lot of money either way. And like I said, option 3 is the least expensive to the city at this time. It does put us back in. Life cycle costing it, I wouldn't go more than 6 years on it. If we get more, fantastic, but I wouldn't plan on more.
So Forrest, what kind of money do we have in the capital improvement fund?
Well, not a whole lot. I believe that y'all restricted expenditures there to about $75,000.
That's correct.
So there'd be 40 left.
Although we've
But
already
actually, it's
spent like
23,000. We've
for
already
the
spent,
asphalt.
yeah, we've spent 23,000 of that 75 already.
Well, and are we anticipating other expenses out of
Yes.
that?
I will spend every bit of that 75,000. I plan another $23,000, another 270 tons of asphalt to go throughout the city and just smaller areas, but try to get all of the city, some of the bad areas. And then we always need to leave some aside so we can buy it the winter when they start making coal mix, so we can get through the winter and the spring. So.
So basically, anything we do is going to come out of fund balance, either in the general fund or the capital improvement fund.
Realistically, by the time you were to get it in and get it fixed and back up like roadworthy, how much actual street sweeping time would we have left even for the remainder of this year?
I would anticipate if I can give them word next week, that they would have it done within a couple of weeks. So we could be up and running again by September. We'd have September, October, we would have a machine available during the fall when the leaves fall and get in our gutters and stuff. So we would be able to cover that aspect of it. And then we do, depending on the year, if it's a nice winter, like last year, a lot of the leaves didn't fall until November. We weren't, so we were, still picking up leaves in November. We weren't sweeping on a regular basis, but we were going through and cleaning up the gutters and stuff before winter actually set in.
I know nothing's guaranteed, but what type of lifespan would we be looking at for the Broom Badger?
It's a mechanical sweeper. So the difference between what we have now, which is an air generator, think of a vacuum cleaner, a very large industrial vacuum cleaner, is what we have now. A Broom Badger is basically, all it is you have two brushes, they're called gutter brushes, that collect the material, bring it into a central location, and then a central broom that picks that up, put it on a conveyor belt, and it just takes it up into the hopper. It's completely mechanical, and really about 5 to 7 years you have to replace the belt, the actual conveyor belt. That's rubberized, a couple $1,000s there, and as long as you keep it greased, you can get good 10 to 12 years out of one before you have what they would classify as a major repair.
So we're really looking, I'm just breaking down the math. If we repair the Mega Wind, that's about $7,000 a year if we plan for 5 years. If we do the Broom Badger with the trade-in, it's about $7,000 a year, any way you look at it.
Pretty much. That's why I said if there was a guarantee that finances would be better in 2018 or 2019, then I would be leaning more towards option 2. And I don't see it. I think we have the machine itself is good as far as the engine and stuff. I am skewed, and you need to understand. I have never liked that machine. That Mega Wind has been a pain or a thorn in my side since I've come to the city. So I have some issues with it. It's a Tier 4 motor, the very first series of Tier 4 when they were trying to get to the EPA regulations, and it's just been problematic. I think we've got the majority of that fixed over these last 3 years. But like I said, it's a repair. I would not, in good conscience, look at you guys and tell you that the machine's got a longer than a 6-year life. I really don't. And in 6 years, I mean, you figure that was a $250,000, $275,000 machine when it was purchased new, for a return 7 years later of $75,000. That's quite, So.
I move that we repair the Mega Wind for $35,664.17 and instruct staff to pursue, after it's repaired, selling the machine outright, and budgeting the rest, budgeting that money for a used machine.
Have a motion? You have a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion?
I don't know, I mean, I just feel like in a rock and a hard place with this thing, because I mean, if you don't do anything, the streets are gonna get worse, which means they're gonna deteriorate even faster, and it means we have to end up buying more asphalt later to fix it, and we're already gonna have to fix or completely tear out some of the streets when we get enough money to be able to do that.
There's not a good option. There's really, with present situation, there's not a good make you feel good, go home and sleep well option. It is the least damage to the city, putting us back into as-is business. We're no different than what we've had been.
My biggest concern is if we do nothing is with our runoff, water runoff, and all the debris and everything that gets run down into our gutters and sewers and everything.
Right.
We've had enough issues with that already that we don't need to continue doing that.
And like I said, if that Geovac goes out when the leaves start falling and it fails, has a catastrophic failure, I would definitely not be coming to you asking you to fix it. I mean, so then we'd have that entire cycle where all the leaves would be in the gutters and then in the storm drains, and then the ice problems that follow that, so.
I don't know, and I completely agree with you. My biggest thing is just, the 35,000 is what makes it difficult, and how to justify with what cuts we've been making and how, to balance out with the shortfall that we have, and then adding, I don't know how much we're gonna have additional besides this, or another big expenditure that we have. And I know we've cut back on a lot of the other capital, and I'm not too stressed about that, but.
Understand too that we have expended in that capital fund right now 23,000 of the 75,000 that you allotted. That is another option. If you do not want to dip into fund balance, you just simply say you spend 36,000 on the repair and you basically don't exceed 75,000, and that's it. We buy some asphalt for the winter and we call it good.
But how is that going to affect it on the back end? Because then that's also the peak. Because when you start having the sinkholes that develop,
it's a catch-22. Mm-hmm. It really is a catch-22. I mean, we need understand that what we're doing on the roads now, they're Band-Aids. They're going to buy us a few more years. It's the same thing. I'm standing in front of you tonight, is asking for a Band-Aid on a machine that will get us a few more years.
Is there a way that we can do the repairs, be searching for the broom badger, and then hopefully while it's still functioning, get a majority of that 125,000 or the 60,000? Because I guess what I don't want to do is invest the 35,000. We don't do anything for 6 years. It breaks. We're back in the same boat that we were, and we don't know the financial situation at that time. And then we may get 5,000-10,000. So I mean, I guess if we're going to trade it, and that's the path that we're going, I'd prefer to do it while it's running and getting the most bang back. That
was Joe's motion.
Yeah.
To actively pursue selling it immediately.
Yeah.
But it seems like we come out back. You're saying trade-in value now is 48,000.
As it is.
As it sits now.
Yep, we do nothing.
And so we put 35,000 and get 75 out, so we're backwards in that too.
Yeah.
We get 40 grand more for, we're better off.
I agree, we're backwards. We are absolutely backwards on it.
And that's definitely an issue. My hope would be that it would buy us a year to where we can actively budget for something next year.
This repair is twofold. One, to fix the fan clutch assembly on the actual motor that runs the chassis. That's $2,500. The rest of the repair is to fix the actual fan and the assembly that fan sits in. It's not a fix, it's a complete replacement of. So by all rights, if you look at how long we own the machine to when we had a catastrophic failure, I would say we should have between 5 and 6 years of, boy, I hate saying this, relative no problems.
So the fan assembly is the major component.
That is
There's not another component that's gonna.
The major, okay, that is the major component that brings the material up into the hopper, minus the motor. Those machines have two motors. You have the chassis motor, and then you have the motor that runs the compressor and all of the things that generate that fan.
That motor, I mean, it's a simple
They're
overhaul
good. They're
opposed
good.
to $35,000 replace. It's it's a $5,000.
It's
5 to 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say 10 to 15,000.
Okay. So
If it needs a complete rebuild. There is nothing that we have that would indicate that we're looking at any type of an engine failure or transmission failure. There's no metals in the services, there's none of the typical wear things that would make you raise an eyebrow, okay?
So in combination with it, either replace or repair, what we're doing on the streets now,
we can continue to do. Is that the best use of it? Because I'm looking at, do we actually need to be doing more than we're doing now? Or do we need to revamp what we're doing so we get more life out of this? Because I'm afraid if we spend $35,000, it's not going to be a repair and replace. It's going to be, we're spending $35,000 now. Most communities our size don't sweep on a daily basis and don't sweep the entire town. The community I came from, the sweeping was 2 days a week, and it was the core downtown, the central business district. That was all that was swept. The residential zones were required that the residents took care of their curb and gutter in front of their homes. So, like I said, so without a policy change, that repair, that option 3 gets us back to status quo of where we are.
Yeah. The concern is that, it's still a 6-year-old machine, and we've fixed one piece, and we blow 2 engines next year on it, and now we got the exact same cost just to get it on the street.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So
Yes,
we're
sir.
using it used, we're buying not only a used, but a damaged used.
Well, and remember, the 125 that's been thrown out isn't a new machine. That's
Yeah.
a used machine that we have no idea, it was a demo.
So
Think of what
And we don't know
you,
if we're gonna get that either, right?
right. Yeah, right now, there's no
Yeah.
guarantee that it's even available to us this year.
So in combination, I think we have to do something, obviously. Option 3 is the least expensive.
Damage, yeah.
But in concert with that, I think we need to figure out a plan that we put the least load, do what we need to do with the least load on this machine, because
Okay.
that would be my thought.
Well, now that you're mentioning that, like the first thing that popped in my mind, if you said it's all mechanical or this is more of a high-powered vacuum, that means that there's more things that could potentially break then in that process, and they're probably going to be expensive to fix if that happens.
They are. I'm a big fan of the mechanical. It touched on a Pelican, and they are the simplest sweepers out there. They've actually been on the market since 1927. Very simple, very easy. As long as you put grease on the areas that need grease, they're relatively, they don't break. They have wear items, but they just simply don't break. The Broom Badger, the only difference between that and the Pelican, the Elgin part of it is the same. It's a mechanical sweeper with the drive belt and all of that. The only difference is it's mounted on a truck chassis, so it's a little more maneuverable driving back and forth. You know, a Pelican has a top speed of 24 miles an hour. So that's the difference. So, and believe it or not, the Broom Badger is actually about $25,000, almost $30,000 cheaper than the Pelican. So, and I have checked Johnston. I just finished this week a thing with Hardline Equipment up in Commerce City on a, believe it or not, an Italian job that seemed really cool. Europeans really love them, but both of those models are more expensive than what the Elgin is. So what I presented to you in my memo is the cheapest of the options that I found so far. So.
Want to take it to a vote?
Well, we have a motion and a second, so is there any more discussion, or we just want to? Okay, Nita, do you want to call roll?
Councilor Lorenz,
Aye.
Councilor Martinez,
Aye.
Counselor Schrader?
Aye.
Counselor Schleba?
Aye.
Mayor Garcia?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Did you guys want that in the capital improvement fund then? Budgeted in that fund when I do the amendment, or the general fund?
Probably have to make a separate motion on that, don't we? Because the capital improvement is the one that we froze,
I'm
right?
trying to
Yes.
see how you worded it.
I feel it should come out of the capital improvement fund, unfortunately.
So your discussion then would be, did you want to cap it where you capped it? So if that money comes out of the capital improvement fund along with the money that's already spent,
23,
then the remainder will probably buy us coal patch,
pretty much.
and that's about it. So that's, which
So do you
I
want,
would recommend that, but that's up to y'all to decide. If you want to keep with that cap, that's the end result.
What's the impact on the streets if we do that?
Immediately, nothing. I mean, none of the streets are going to implode. It gives us the ability, like if you've driven down 6th Avenue where there's potholes, the coal mix gives us the ability to fix those potholes. So there is no immediate deficit to our streets. Okay.
Is there a long-term issue there?
No, it just, the life cycle on the pavements, it's in the same thing. You do nothing. They'll get to a point, and I showed you guys the graph, how a pavement slowly deteriorates and then rapidly drops off. It's not going to affect us for the next 5 or 6 years. Okay, the only thing you're gonna see in the immediate, in some of the worst areas, you'll see more potholes next year. Or if we get a freeze-thaw cycle going, or even more rain this summer. I mean, that's going to be the extent of what you're going to see. None of the streets are gonna fall apart on you and gonna have to be turned back to dirt.
Okay. That was, I guess, my biggest concern was just that we don't do the same thing we've done with our pipes over the last 20 years.
And the pipes don't fail. I mean, like I said, you'll have a leak, you'll have a pothole,
Right.
but they're not going to completely give up the ghost.
All right.
Make a motion that it comes out of the capital improvement fund and that it remains capped at 75,000.
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay, Nita? Counselor Martinez?
Aye.
Counselor Schrader?
Aye.
Counselor Schleba?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Mayor Garcia? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
So now we move on to the 2017 collection system improvement project to RMS Utilities.
I just have a point of order. Do we need to revisit the flatbed purchase? Or do we not need a formal motion on
I
that?
can probably cover a $1,500 expense within my existing budget.
And I think we said if it's over a certain amount, then
Right,
1,500.
yeah, I
Under
didn't see
okay.
the motion.
All right.
Okay. All right, so, 2017 collection system award. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, Ron?
No, you have everything. The actual, what you're asking to award tonight is the construction for the 2017 collection system improvements, which is within the CDOT right-of-way on North 285 from the railroad tracks approximately 1,500 feet north, up past Grover Shippers, if you know where County Road 34 is. So that's the area that we're talking about. That bid came in at $526,025.15. In your packet, you also have total project cost, which includes construction management, engineering, bringing that total cost of that project up to $577,853.23. And you also have in that same budget the breakdown of what funds are remaining between the grant and the loan of $866,956 for 2018 project.
happy to answer any questions. This is just a continuation of our sewer project that we've been going on. We do have a significant source of groundwater on this particular project that does kind of address some of the other stuff I put in my summary to you. We have our clearances from CDOT, so we are moving forward if council awards this tonight of a start date in September.
Wishes of council?
And this is from the sewer fund, right?
Yes, yes, this is a part of our DOLA grant and the loan, so, yeah. So these funds have already been
allotted.
Yep.
I make a motion that we approve the award of this project to RMS.
Second.
Oh,
Yeah, I put at the bottom
I
of my.
made it difficult, didn't I? Sorry.
Yeah, I put it
Yeah, there's a.
Yeah.
in bold.
Okay, I make a motion to award the 2017 Collection System Improvement Project, parentheses, CDOT area, parentheses, to RMS Utilities for the sum of $526,025.15.
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay, Anita?
Counselor Schleyhoff?
Aye.
Counselor Martinez?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Counselor Schrader?
Aye.
Mayor Garcia?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Next item on the agenda is the IGA, or intergovernmental agreement with Rio Grande County Clerk and Recorder to have a coordinated election. So, basically we're,
There's really nothing to add to that, Madam Mayor. It's just the agreement to go ahead and move forward with the election calendar, with the coordinated election with Rio Grande County Clerk and Recorder.
wishes of council?
I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement for coordinated election with the Rio Grande County Clerk and Recorder's Office.
Second.
Any other discussion? Anita?
Counselor Schrader?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Counselor Schleyhoff?
Aye.
Counselor Martinez?
Aye.
Mayor Garcia?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay. Our next item is in regards to our best and brightest student, CJ, who left. So, of course, you want to...
Thank you, Madam Mayor, councilors. Sometimes when you go to meetings, you get an outcome that is different than you anticipated. And I went to a Valley-wide managers meeting in La Jara, and Christy Doon from DOLA was there. And we got to chatting about a few things. One of them was, we performed very well on our part of the best and brightest as far as the mentoring requirements, reporting, all that. We did a good job on that. And it was a shame that our intern left. On the interim, in 2018, ASU is signed on to become a partner with the University of Colorado Denver and DOLA to do this Best and Brightest program. So I was like, wow, that'd be nice, but that's 2018. So Christy and I started talking. She said, if you're interested in this, you currently have a master's and it'd be open to master's students at ASU. We have a master's student from ASU, Azrael, as you all know, and she's been working part-time for the city. If we submit this letter that's in your packet, no guarantee that we will get to start this year, but I think there's a pretty good opportunity for it. There's no fiscal impact on the city because right now we're paying Azrael to work part-time. With the money from DOLA, we just match it up so we could pay her full-time. So not a cost to us per se for that. The matching is, I believe, 48.52. We get the 52. It's a pretty fair deal. I think next year it's 46. Anyway, but it's not really much of a change. it's a valuable employee that we can preserve. As soon as I had that meeting, I came back and asked her first if she was interested, and would she like to work full-time for the city and I told her what the situation was, she said yes. So I would ask the council to approve the mayor signing this letter. We'll send it off to Christie and see if we can make this happen.
My only question would be is, it's my understanding that Azrael will be graduating soon. Would she still be eligible to continue the program?
She and actually had that discussion today, and because she's in a master's program, there's a big practicum at the end, which she could have done by May or maybe not. So, we were discussing a little bit, and I think that she would at least stay with us till a year from, say, October. And, I think that would be beneficial. And if it only went that long, that'd still be a good deal for us. So I do think that'd be worth taking the opportunity on.
Well, I make a motion for approval of sending this letter to ensure our being able to keep Azrael.
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay, Nick. Councilor Martinez?
Aye.
Councilor Schwebel?
Aye.
Councilor Lorenz?
Aye.
Councilor Schrader?
Aye.
Mayor Garcia? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. And if we get this to work, we'll have to thank Christie because she's very creative. She has, right now, 17 counties. They had 3 retirements of the district managers like herself. Well, at least 2 of them retirements. The third one, I'm not sure what happened. And those are going to be filled soon, but she's been handling 17 counties for a number of months. So, she shows great interest in the valley, and we're lucky to have her. So, thank you.
If you just want to stay there and move on to your city manager's report.
All right, as I said in my report, budget amendments, Heather and I still have a couple things to go through. We'll present those at the next council meeting. Police chief interviews, 16th of August. That will include a meet and greet in the evening at 6 p.m. at the visitor center, and the council will ask questions of those candidates then. The rest of the process is very similar to the last time we did it. We have a panel during the day and myself doing interviews. And then we have a council meeting the next night. So we'll have an opportunity to discuss negotiations probably in executive session. A couple other things I just wanted to highlight. We did conduct interviews for code enforcement officer. And we offered the position to a gentleman who should start September 1st. Looking forward to that. Lots of work for him to do. This is an interesting thing that just kind of happened this week. If we could work out the logistics, Boutique Air, which is now operating air service out of Alamosa, the week of August 21st would operate their air service out of Monte Vista's airport.
Oh, nice.
Apparently there's some runway repairs or something that's going to go on in Alamosa, so they contacted Art and myself and Rob, and we talked about it, and essentially, we don't have a structure for charging any fees or anything for this. I thought it was actually very cool because going back to the history of our airport, that was the thought, that was what it was going to do. So we said if they can work out the paperwork with the FAA, they would clean our terminal for us and they could utilize the terminal and fly out of there for a week. If that works to their satisfaction and ours, there will be a period in late fall, early winter, or early spring, depending on whose timetable it meets, where they would do that for 38 days. So, we haven't gotten down the path of that yet. We may need to talk about some fees and some things like that for it, but I think it might be a good opportunity to promote Monte Vista as well. I mean, an advertising kiosk and the terminal, those kind of things, but once again, it'll show that it can be done, and I honestly think it'll attract more interest from the UAS folks. They're starting their flights up in Saguache. So we'd like to get more of their activity down here, and I think by flying commercial in and out of there, that would help. So
Maybe if they liked it, they may
Right?
want to stay.
Maybe they'll open up a little secondary hub or something we can get.
at least kind of gets us on their radars, you know. So that seemed pretty exciting. I don't know if y'all saw today, most of us were at the economic summit today. Just a reminder, and I just saw this when I got back, that CML District 8 meeting is September 25th, and it's going to be in Swatch. So if you'll let Nita know, if you're going to be able to attend that, we can get us all registered and go from there. But that should be a good meeting.
You said the 25th?
The 25th. And one thing I just wanted to mention from the earlier discussion regarding economic community development, we really didn't talk about Upper Rio Grande Economic Development, who has been, for the past couple of years working towards a lot of different things like inventorying the available buildings in our communities. Been doing a lot of outreach and have helped with quite a few projects that benefit the valley. Right now they're working on, I'm on that board, we're working on the next goal setting plan. I had a chance to review that the other day and send in some comments. Really want to stress business retention and expansion activities, and that is a stressed part of the plan. I also talked about, leads on the ground. So we've done some kind of esoteric things which have resulted in good benefits for the valley. The Inspire grant being one of those that it will be beneficial to the whole valley, including our community. But, my stress, as we have talked about, is, actual physical business leads. But once again, it does take time. But we're going to try to get them, more focused on that task. And I do think the expansion and retention is an important piece as well. And we really have looked at the evolution of small businesses. What are those going to look like now? And it's a lot different than it looked like 15 or 20 years ago. There are retailers that we can't compete with unless you have some very specialized product. But I do think that there's some good opportunities there moving forward. I'll say one of the things about Del Norte that I'm just going to comment on because it came to mind. One of the things that happened there was that there was an architect who believed in that community. And not only did he own some of the buildings or have an ownership interest, but he got owners motivated to fix their buildings up, to make them nice, to make them rentable. And the hotel project over there was part of his work. So unfortunately, he passed away, but he was a key player and community motivator in getting those retail spaces available. So, it takes a lot of different elements, but having somebody like that can lead that charge with the private business owners is pretty important. And we have lots of tools. We have more tools than we had a year ago. We do have a good incentive program. It's underutilized. You recall we did hold a public meeting and had some attendees for that program. You can lead a horse to water, but getting them to go that last piece, is based on market conditions. But even things like proximity mall, where you have these good paying jobs, that adds more money to the economy, as the mayor was saying. Then there's room for some things that are wants. And that's what a lot of local retail is these days, is wants. As far as tourists go, look at the parking lot of Walmart. And it's unfortunate, but you see all those big trailers and trucks and I don't even know what you call those big RV things, but they park over there, they load up. That takes money out of potentially stopping here. It takes money out of South Forks. Rainbow is the do-all place to stop there, but they don't do as much business as they could because of that that influence. I think Highway 112, if we could close that going west, would help us greatly because a lot of people turn there and we don't see them. They don't see us. They come down 285 and we don't get a shot at them. So there's certainly a lot of things we can do, and I think we are doing them, but they do take some time. And but I'm encouraged. We do have some new businesses that have opened up and filled some of the spaces, and you know, Quincy's is a prime example, but there are other businesses that have come in the last year. So, you know, our sales tax revenue is up some from what we anticipated. I think in a pretty good amount, actually, not pretty good amounts, say $40,000 by the end of the year. But that's a pretty good amount. That's a bigger increase than we had the previous year, so that's good. And it does show that things are starting to percolate a little bit. So, you know, it's an exciting time, and yes, sometimes it's very frustrating. We've all worked on some leads that didn't quite pan out, but if you don't work them, you don't know. So, you know, we're gonna keep plugging along, and we will continue to refocus URG-ED to having some, you know, I mean, they are boots on the ground, but we're gonna get them more, particularly with our existing businesses, because I think some of them can definitely profit from some of that knowledge, maybe do some expansion. And I like the analogy, Joe, from, you know, as a scale, adding 35 jobs here versus our population to Denver, I mean, it's a huge thing. And that was one of the first things I ever heard Frank Gray say at an economic conference that I was at. They were talking about, you guys think, you know, you need 400 jobs. Can you absorb 400 jobs? No, but that would be like Denver getting, you know, 400,000 jobs.
Right.
But 35 jobs, 25 to 35 good paying jobs, that's a huge boon to our community and to the valley. So, you know, that's a big win, and I think we'll continue to have some. So,
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what happened with the sale of the Facet building?
I do not, actually. I see that it's
obviously up for sale
yes.
again.
And those folks have not contacted me even, I mean, I reached out to them, but they haven't talked to me about what's going on, so it's a little mystified to see the for sale sign.
I may be able to speak a little bit to that. Is they're my landlords, and they had a rough summer in terms of speaking in terms of profit, and so they ended up breaking they were under contract for the building and ended up breaking the contract at this point. Now they are looking at a few options and looking at retrying again, but it's been they had a few injuries within the business, a couple major ones, and so it just ended up not being a really rough summer for them. And so they've just said that they needed to turn their energy back towards their energy business and try to get that up and running. With that being said, one of them did mention that they would be interested in touching base with you, so keep an eye out for an email about trying to find some grants to do a solar farm. Because their business is solar energy, and there are grants out there, and she would be interested in doing grants for that.
Okay. I'll keep an eye out for that, and that did spur another thought. So I believe I answered some of the energy questions that we had from our workshop, but to make it more interesting, there's another outfit from Denver that would like to make the same kind of proposal to the city. I've had a phone conversation with them, we've emailed back and forth, and it's just, but I don't have the proposal details yet. But I think that and I did talk to the folks from Oakwood. He was in Maine, and they said they had cell service where he was. No, they didn't. So he apologized for missing our meeting. But I think we have two competing proposals that we could look at sometime in the next month and a half or something. And we talked about maybe looking at it as part of budget time and looking if those numbers have enough depth to be of interest. So kind of interesting. But two solar farm outfits, and you know, I did talk to Excel, And we are gonna have a meeting about, you know, a couple options they have, but generally they aren't offering a plan where you do your own solar panels. They have a residential plan. What they would offer us is kind of the opposite of what we're offered. We pay extra for green credits. So like you pay more, okay, not pay less. So I might work in Boulder, but I don't think that would fly with our constituents down here. So in any case, but I do think we have these two proposals to look at, and I'll meet with those folks and we'll get them to you all to look at probably the first week of September.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Forrest, just one more thing. I was wondering, we had started doing a quarterly meeting with the local businesses last year, and then obviously things went the way they have this year, and so that kind of ended up not happening so far. I was wondering, is there a plan in the works to try and get at least one meeting in this year?
We will do that for sure. Is there a plan? No, sir, there's not, but thank you for reminding me of that, and we will definitely get one put together.
Well, I think it had started making progress towards what Pastor Whitner was talking about, filling these storefronts and building a collaboration of the local businesses, and I think we can continue that. Obviously, we also need to be able to have the manpower to do that as well, of course.
Right. Well, I think we can make that happen, so thank you.
Appreciate it.
Connection.
Thank you. So Kids Connection is coming to an end. Our summer program officially ends next Wednesday. And then we will take a week off and jump right back into the after-school program that starts the 21st. The first week will be really slow because the stagger starts for the school. I think we'll probably have a full house on Thursday and hopefully Friday, and then following week we'll shoot back up with regular numbers. So far this summer we have enrolled 162 members into the summer program. And as of today, when I wrote this on Monday, we were at 162. As of today, we're at 171. I've had that many more parents come in and are a little sad when I tell them, well, our next day is next Wednesday, and they're looking at me like, what am I supposed to do with my children? But we'll take them until Wednesday, and then they can hang out with parents for a while. Our pancake breakfast was a big success this year. We served about 112 community members. Started bright and early at 4:30 because we thought we would get a crowd at 6 because that's when everyone else had started theirs. Our first official customers didn't walk in until 7, so it was a lesson learned. We will not be there at 4:30 in the morning to start again. Let's see, we received a huge amount of community and family support for the pancake breakfast, and they donated a lot of items. I was so thankful to walk in and see as much stuff donated as we had, because to be honest, I was really late in getting the note out to parents and to community members, so I was really happy to see that they wanted to jump in and support us. With some of the community members that stopped by to eat, we've come across a bunch of donations of just random supplies. They're just stopping in and dropping off things for us. We got a big bag of like goodies to go into our prize closet, so I was super excited about that. And we had a lot of new faces. I didn't see very many typical community members that are always around to support everybody. I saw so many new faces come in. I was really surprised that the word had gotten out that far. So that was exciting. Chelsea stopped by and did some pictures on Saturday morning and checked everything out. And came back on Tuesday, was like, can I get the list of donations so we can send a thank you? And I was like, I have about half the list together. Give me a minute. And so I was scribbling through trying to get the rest of them. So hopefully we'll see an additional thank you to supporters in the paper. And I also did a handwritten thank you on our little picture card and got those. Most of them have gotten out. I think I have like 4 more left to deliver, but wanted to make sure that they knew how appreciative we were. Our summer high school helpers were here, Nick and Caitlin. They were rock stars. I can't say that enough. You don't typically find 16 and 17-year-olds walk into a program with a bunch of children that know what to do the second they walk in. And they did an amazing job. So just wanted to stress that again. Kids Connection picked up the food for Kid Venture, and I put some fun facts in here. When Jesse and I were driving back, because we were so proud of ourselves, we Tetrised everything into the Tahoe, and everyone kept walking out because there was literally like 3 pallets of food. And they were like, where are your vehicles? All I had was that pretty little blue Tahoe. And I was like, they told me there was 21 boxes, like banana boxes. And so I had saved banana boxes, or they said there were 24. I had 7 of them, so I put them in the back, and I was like, yeah, we can definitely do this. 24 is gonna fit. We got there, and there were 24 banana boxes, but then 2 additional pallets of food plus milk. And so they were like, where's your extra vehicle? And I was like, we have 1 trip. We have no choice but to make it back. It has to fit in here. We didn't think about taking pictures until it was all said and done, so we didn't get to show you our amazing work. We were just really excited to finally get it in there. But everyone kept walking out, and they would look at the pile, look at the vehicle, and they're like, nope. And every time they came out, I looked at Jesse. I was like, we're going to get every last bit of this food in here if we are here all night. Our plan B was to put the milk on top of the Tahoe and strap it down, but we didn't have to go to plan B because we got it all to fit in the back. I did get the seats to come out, though. I tried it way before. If any of you were there for Arbor Day, I couldn't get the seat to move, and it was stuck. So I spent about a half an hour before we even left making sure I could remove the seat so I had enough space and didn't have to fight with them when we got there. But looking at our inventory list that they gave us, they had quantities of what we had picked up and weights of what we had picked up. And the whole ride back, we talked about what an amazing program Care and Share has been for Kids Connection. And we figured that in about a 1-year period, we serve about 148,000 individual milks. They are the little, they're like 6-ounce shelf-stable milks. And we received close to and served close to 9 tons worth of food to our children each year. All of that comes free of charge through Care and Share's partnership. So I just wanted to let you guys know how amazing. It doesn't seem like a lot until you put it down on paper and you really look at it, and over a year we're able to serve 9 tons of food to each of our members free of charge. It's an extra meal or a snack throughout the day, or a lunch on a Friday that parents don't have to worry about supplying for their kids. Kids Connection's been able to do it, and hopefully we can continue the partnership. And hopefully Care and Share can continue the success they've had and the amount of support that they've had, so they can continue to operate or offer it to us. Kid Venture wasn't as successful as they anticipated being. They served about 250 kids. They anticipated over 400, so we picked up way more food than we really needed to. But we will have some good discussions before next year and determine whether or not we should anticipate that many again, or just go with what we know they are going to serve and try to compensate for any overages. If you've been by Kids Connection, you'll see that the painting on the outside of the building is finally complete, so we're hopefully ready to get going on a sign or something to that effect. I haven't had one person walk in and try to drop off their mail again. Could not figure out why they thought it was a post office, but we kind of put 2 and 2 together and realized the postal cars look exactly like our building. So it's a nice color now, or it's a very muted color, I guess. Sorry. We do currently have 2 openings for after-school staff available for Kids Connection. So if anyone knows of anyone looking for a position who likes to walk into work and not know what to expect every day and have fun stories to go home and tell about crazy things that have happened, send them our way. And then I will have a meeting tomorrow with Alex Notov, who's one of the owners from 3 Guys Farms. to discuss a possible fundraising opportunity. I'm really excited about it, so I hope that we can make it work out. I'm not gonna give too much information so that I don't jinx it. So hopefully I'll have some good information for you guys to come soon. And if you have any questions for me, I would be happy to answer them.
Love the paint job.
Thank you.
When I first saw it, I thought, who was in charge of doing that? But I've been by several times and I think it's an excellent choice.
Thank you. When I went to choose colors, I asked Forrest, what can I choose from? And he was like, well, you have to follow these guidelines. And basically it just said it couldn't be a color that was going to stand out, needed to blend in with their surroundings. So I was looking around and I was like, well, there's not many colors. And I looked across the street at Wayne's print shop and there's blue. It's like I could go totally crazy and make it blend in with that. But I figured I had enough color going on inside. I wanted something that was going to be pretty clean and as sophisticated as possible, because then I hope to go bright and bold with the sign choice so it really stands out.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So thank you. Any other questions? Awesome, thanks. Recreation.
Hello, I'm here in Jaime's spot today. I have our July report for recreation. I will start with Pee Wee programs. Right now, we just ended our baseball program and all of our summer activities are winding down. So we're getting ready for fall, which is cheerleading, football, and volleyball. I don't know if you guys were at the parade, but our cheerleaders walked through it. Their program's been a little bit slow lately just because with summer and there's not really cheerleaders at baseball, so they're gonna start picking up now that fall is starting. Football and volleyball registration is open currently. It was originally open from July 1st to the 31st, but with Stampede Week, I had a lot of parents forget and they're just busy, so we extended it till the 9th. About football, we are doing a limited registration just due to lack of equipment. So I think we're gonna take 1 5th and 6th grade and 2 3rd and 4th grade for tackle. Moving on to adult programs. We're gonna try to, I don't know if you guys remember, but we used to have a fall softball league. So we're trying to bring that back because we did lose it. We have had quite a few Alamosa teams ask us about it, like that play in the Alamosa League. So we're getting some interest. Right now it's looking like we're just gonna run a men's league, but not sure yet. So we're trying to push that right now. And then we're gonna try to do adult volleyball starting in October after softball. That will have to be on weekends due to Pee Wee using Sky High during the week. That's mostly all for my sports, and then community events that are coming up. There's a Pilots baseball that is run by Mr. West, and they're not affiliated with the city, but they are going to. But they did ask if they could use the softball fields to run their tryouts this Saturday, which we approved for them to do. And then they'll travel all over. And some of our kids are going out for it, so we want to promote it too. We held the Rocky Skill Challenge early June. We had, I think we had 6 kids move on to sectionals, but I don't know how they did there. We also had a youth British soccer camp that was scheduled for this week actually, but we didn't have a high enough participation, so we're just gonna try to push that in soccer season. And then pump, pass, and kick, which is like the football clinic. We won't run that anymore because the NFL actually terminated it, so they're not running it anymore. So that won't be anything we do anymore. And then on the report that Jaime gave you guys, it's just a list of all of the rentals that we've had at Sky High and Chapman Park. The biggest obviously being Stampede, which we prepped for 2 weeks. And they were actually really great about their cleanup. I was super surprised. And then the meetings on the report is just, the one that wasn't added to yours was just Holiday Fest. And that's really I have. Do you guys have any questions?
Nita, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I do. I just have one item that I just want to let you and our viewing audience on YouTube and the audience here know that on August 7th at 6:30 p.m. here at City Hall, I am going to be holding an orientation for candidates who want to run for mayor or for city council. So that has been in the paper, thanks to Chelsea. She's helped me out, and we've got that in the paper, and it's run for 2 weeks. So this last paper that came out Wednesday, the Valley Courier, there was a nice little boxed ad in there. So I just wanted to let you know. Please, if you're interested, come out. I have packets put together, and candidates can start petitioning on the 9th.
Thank you. Dixie?
Nothing.
Sure.
I did attend the Chuck Wagon dinner during Stampede. It was the only event that I felt up to attending, but we did go out for that. And today, the 4 of us were at the Economic Summit in Alamosa. Lots of interesting discussions about what goes into economic development and the sources that are available to people who want to pursue something. I did attend the first meeting of the Holiday Festival. It's that time again, folks. Can you hear the jingle bells? Anyway, the theme that we chose was bringing the peace and joy back to Christmas. And it will be held on December the 2nd.
Thank you.
I attended the school board council meeting that we had. They're going to try to schedule us on their band schedule to make sure we have a band for our Veterans Parade, which is also just around the corner as well. We'll see what they do have a new band director, so we'll hopefully see if we can get that. And then at our next school board meeting, we will discuss arrangements for homecoming activities and possibly our bonfire. Again, and anything that we can do to help them out. We attended the Economic Summit today, and then also the URA will be meeting on Thursday at 6, and they will be finalizing. P&Z, yes, yeah, sorry. It's been a long day. So they will be finalizing the marijuana ordinance, and once that has their approval, then that will come before council, and then we can review that and make adjustments further. I will be unfortunately out of town. I have a trip for the school that I have to take, so I will be out of town, but I will send all of my revisions to Karen and any suggestions on that, and then hopefully we can set up a work session after that to discuss that further. And that's it.
Thank you.
Well, I briefly stepped into the Economic Summit today. I was very encouraged by the large number of community members that attended and business people and people who have put a lot of work and dedication into building the San Luis Valley. And we face some very unique challenges here in the San Luis Valley just because of the difficulty of access and all of that. And so it really was interesting to me to see where this has gone from 2 years ago, where we were simply talking about an idea, to 50, 60 people in one room working together, generating new ideas, generating new ways of building programs to develop the entire valley, and that to me was very impressive, and I can look forward to watching it grow, and I think we are in a place to see really good things come out of that. I did want to say thanks to all of the city staff, police department, public works, and everybody else who participated in Stampede. It was a very successful event. I think we had a really good event. I didn't hear of any incidents this year. It was, to me, it was outstanding how smoothly everything went, and I was very happy. So, that's all I got.
Awesome, thank you. I too heard nothing but positive things about this year's Stampede, and in fact, I've been asked to, if you guys could get me numbers of employees that were involved in helping. They would like to actually do something for you guys, so they're kind of looking for a number. So everyone on the Stampede committee was very grateful and very appreciative, and yeah, very, very positive feedback. And I too heard nothing but positives. Very good. And just to let you all know, I will not be at our next council meeting on the 17th. Our son has high school orientation that same night at the same time. So Carol has so graciously offered to fill in. So if there's nothing else, we'll be in recess until the 17th.